Hello and welcome to the demo of the new Tungsten dashboard version 8, a browser tool to monitor and operate on your clusters in real time. Let's talk a bit about cluster operations. Simply put, if you send any command or a change to a cluster through the dashboard, we call that a cluster operation in this demo. Couple of notes about that before we begin. First, not all operations that the clusters can do are available through the dashboard at this time. The rest of the operations can be triggered directly through the API or by using the ccTLR tool. Secondly, some of the available operations require the cluster to be in maintenance policy before your changes can be seen. Finally, we recommend that you lock a given cluster when you are working on it. You can lock a cluster inside the dashboard by clicking on the unlock label here and then choosing lock. Lock prevents other dashboard users from acting on the same cluster at the same time as you are. Now that the cluster is locked, let's set it to maintenance policy so that we can see some of the changes we're about to do. Notice how the warning filter lit up at the top of the page since we gave the cluster its maintenance policy. It turned the cluster into warning status, and now if we click the filter, the clusters with warning status, in this case Oulu, are shown. Similarly, on the front page, a cluster in a warning status is now colored yellow. We can get back to the clusters page by using the name as a link. With the maintenance policy set, we can now disable the replicator for DB22 here. The cluster will not recover the replicator automatically because of the maintenance policy. To disable the replicator, open the replicator controls using the drop-down menu on the right and then choose offline. The cluster will be blocked while the command is running, and the return results of the command are shown in a notification. Since an offline state is considered an error, the cluster is now in a red state, and the corresponding error filter is now available to us at the top. Similarly, if you check the cluster out on the front page, you can see that it's now colored red here as well, and the problematic node is indicated. Going back to the cluster itself, let's fix what we've done by enabling the replicator again. I'm going to send an online command to it. And then I am going to set the policy back to automatic to disable the warning. And to make sure that the cluster is still operational, I'm going to give it a heartbeat command. You'll notice the sequence numbers increasing and the relative latency is decreasing here. Now that we're done with the cluster, I'm just going to unlock it so that other users can now perform their actions to that cluster if they need to. When another user locks a cluster inside the Tungsten dashboard, the first change that happens is the unlock label changed to lock label. Next, you will see that the actions are grayed out. When another user triggers an operation, the cluster is blocked until the operation is completed. Please note that none of the drop-downs work while lock is still active from another user. You can see who locked it by clicking on the locked label. You cannot change the policy of a locked cluster either. Those are the basics of the cluster operations available to you in the dashboard, but there are a couple more operations that are unique to the dashboard in itself. These are the reload topology, edit definition, and remove definition actions. Reload topology will essentially reload the entire connection to that particular cluster, fetch its hosts again, and create the cache on the dashboard end again. You can use this if, for example, you encounter a situation where one of the hosts is missing or one of the deleted hosts is still visible. Edit definition allows you to modify the details of a given connection to a given cluster. A remove definition will remove the connection details from the dashboard itself. I'm going to disable the filter here and then collapse all of my clusters. That concludes this dashboard demo. Hope you found it informative and hope you have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching, and bye-bye.